5, kicking on the... Ah! Ah! Get on with it! Kicking off the list is something most people already know about, and this is probably the most famous secret at the park. The Azavin Recall Book. The Azavin Recall Book is a steampunk-styled book that sits in the broken remains of what was once a clock tower on Clock Tower Island. It's located just beyond the pier, and you need a boat to get to it. When touched, the book sends you back in time to the 1800s, and you enter a strange world named Azavin. Number 4, the Final Hour Hotel Clock. The Final Hour Hotel is packed full of secrets, mysteries, and references, but this one is probably the most subtle. Everyone knows that the hotel... Everyone knows that the hotel shut down in 1957, so therefore everything is somewhat frozen in that time period. What most haven't noticed is that the clock has stopped at 7:57, which, on a digital clock, would appear like this. 1957. Yeah, okay, they get it. Number 3. The Impossible Loop. The second loop on Mr. Smiley is absolutely mad, so much so that it's physically... The second loop on Mr. Smiley is absolutely mad, so much so that it's physically impossible. In the fan club, most refer to it as the Impossible Loop, but if you look closely and have a keen eye, you'll see that it's now officially named that. Good! Number 2, the Illusion Room. This one, to my knowledge, was never found, and now I'm afraid it's too late. The House of Illusion seemed like a pretty basic attraction, but did you know that there was actually a hidden room underneath it? Oh my! As it's closed now, you won't be able to see what was inside it, but in a wide open space in the House of Illusion, there was a trapdoor that would lead you underground into a secret room. I know, spooky, scary, I could tell you what it is, but nah. And number 1! I made it! Mr. Smiley's laugh. Have you never wondered what it sounds like? I mean, the owner of a laughing facility should have a pretty amazing laugh. Well, if you stick around outside of the ride long enough, you'll be able to hear it. Mr. Smiley has never had a voice, unlike the demons and ghosts in the Final Hour or the Captain in Enigma. That's difficult to say. Mr. Smiley has never had a voice. Unlike the demons and ghosts in the Final Hour or Captain in Enigma, I decided to make Mr. Smiley a totally silent character, but that doesn't mean you can't still hear him. If you stand and listen to the soundtrack of the ride until the very end, you get treated with the demonic, warped laughter that sounds as if a clown just got a new victim for his torture chamber. Why did I bother writing that? That's not good at all. It's uncomfortable, unsettling, makes you feel uneasy, and is just plain creepy, but it also makes it much worse when you hear someone crying behind it. If you watched my video on Amusement, the 2018 haunted house that explains Mr. Smiley's backstory, you'll remember that Mr. Smiley was once a child who didn't know who or what they wanted to be. It's an extremely dark story, so don't tune in if you're faint of heart, but it's no surprise that at the end of the journey the child gets turned into the monster we now know as Mr. Crazy Eyes over here. That's a really, really bad joke, and I don't know why I put it in. It just doesn't make any sense. One thing you might miss, however, is that in the original haunted house, you can hear the child crying as it's turned into this creature. Now, if you listen extremely closely, you can also hear the same crying during only one part of the Mr. Smiley soundtrack, and it just so happens to be the only time when Mr. Smiley himself is laughing.
And the Employee of the Week this week is...
Jokes668, for being one of the most efficient operators of the asylum.